Hello, my name is Afoso Amobe. I'm a senior front-end developer and UX designer, and today I'm going to be talking to you about what is UX design and the difference between UI design and UX design. So, in this presentation, we'll be covering understanding what is user interface design, understanding what is user experience design, and the difference between UI and UX design. We'll also be covering what is a UX case study and how to create one. So, what is UI design? User interface design, UI design for sure, is a process designers use to build interfaces in software and computerized devices, focusing on their looks and their styles. This is really what I call the makeup of design. So it's really just about how the look and feel of something. And to give you an example of that in real life, things like websites, apps, it can even go past into things like ATM machines or kiosk machines or even gaming devices, as you see on the video on the right. So anything that is talking about the look and feel of a digital interface, that is UI design. UI design is purely digital and doesn't exist anywhere that doesn't have a screen to interact with it. As you were seeing in these examples, we got a website on the left over here. It's actually one of the websites I made. We got mobile devices, we got mobile apps, you got ATM machines, you got kiosks, you got gaming devices, you got a range of things where UI design comes into play. Literally anything, like I said again, that has a screen is UI design. So just to repeat that, UI design is how things look and feel. I like to call it the makeup of design because it's all about making things look good, making things look presentable, making things stand out. So what is UX design? UX design is learning what your users want out of your product or service and improving on that to better serve those wants for users. Now the key part of it is really focusing on the users. And this thing is not just limited to digital experiences as well, like apps and websites. It extends past the digital and goes into the real world. UX is a journey and not a destination. And like I was saying, it's not just limited to your digital experiences. So the user is really, really key when it comes to user experience design because you're trying to create a tailored, catered experience that helps them achieve the goal that they want and also fits into your business or your own individual goals that you're trying to achieve with your product. So it's really, really focused, centered around the user. It's a user-centered approach, and that's why UX design is called user experience design. Like I was saying, the key part in UX design is the goal. Otherwise, we're just calling it UI design because the user is not involved at every step of the process. So think of UX design as customer service, but for when a human can't be around to help. That's the way I like to think about it. And to give you an example of that, imagine going to a clothing store and you ask the clerk or the person there that you want to buy shoes. And then instead of them taking you to the shoe department, they take you to every single department they have. And lastly, they take you to the shoe department. And that's not the best experience of the user because my goal was to go to shoes, but they took me to everywhere else, which I didn't really need to go to. So the goal is really important when it comes to UX design because you need to understand what users want to be able to give them a service or give them a customer service or a product that serves their needs. So it's basically how can we incorporate a design that aids users to achieve their goals without a person being present with them. That's the goal of UX design. Like I said in the previous slide, think of UX design as customer service before any human can't be around to help. That really helps me when I try to understand what I'm doing when it comes to improving these products or services that I'm working on for customers or users. So now that you kind of understand the difference between UI design and UX design, well, not difference, but you understand what they're talking about, let's go and see what UX design is in real life. So what is UX design in real life? One example I really love the most is the Bosch Tram door opening system. It's one of the most impressive UX designs I know that exist out in the real world. And one reason why I love it so much is that think it's so universal to understand what to do when you're in that situation. Now, as you're seeing in that short GIF, when you're coming to your stop, what happens is that, and this GIF isn't showing it, is that it makes a huge beeping sound. And as you can see, the lights are flashing at you, so it's drawing all your attention to that signal, that icon, with the arrows pointing outwards, and that gives you the indication of what's going to happen once you press it. That literally the doors are going to open in that direction. And I think that's such a universal user experience design, because you don't need to know English or English language to understand that. Anybody from all cultures of understanding can know what to do in that situation. So you come to it, it's beeping so loud, it's flashing at you, and then you press it, and as you've seen in the GIF, the doors open. So it's such a seamless user experience that anybody can do, and that's one thing I love about the bus tram opening system. Another one which is quite common is the tomato ketchup bottle. This one is really funny, really, because we've all been in that situation where the one on the left, we've been in the situation on the left where you're trying to get your ketchup onto your plate. Remember, the goal is that you're trying to just have some nice tasting food, and when you open it, already it's because of where it's positioned, the gravity is working up against you, so the ketchup's all set at the bottom but the opening is at the top. So you're trying to open it and you're trying to like dab some ketchup on your food, but it's not coming out. So you have to like tap the bottom. You have to really struggle with it. And the fact that it's glass makes it even harder to get your ketchup onto your food, to have some nice tasting food. Now the improved UX is the one on the right. As you can see now, it's working with gravity, because the ketchup cap is now at the bottom. So it's easy for all of that ketchup to come down and onto your plate. And it's also made from plastic. It's not really obvious in this image, but it's a plastic design instead of glass. So which means it's much easier to squeeze to get that ketchup onto your food, to have that nice tasting meal. As you can see, the goal is that I want my food to taste a bit better, or just taste nice, and ketchup helps me do that. But the one on the left is much harder to get the ketchup out, and the one on the right is much easier because it's plastic, and the ergonomic design works with gravity to aid you in getting the ketchup onto your food. Now, another one that I love a lot is what you can obviously see here is that in the image on the right, you've got something that designers have spent months, probably even years, planning and preparing, and then when you present it to the real world, it doesn't meet the user's expectations. Like I was saying before, user experience is all about the user's goal at hand. Otherwise it's just UI design, and this image clearly explains it to the best, because we've got the designed road where it's blocking off the path to the other side of the road over here. And as you've seen with that off-beaten path, what users really wanted to do is get to that side of the road. They didn't want to cross the road or go over here through this little passageway to then get to that right side. They created their own experience of getting to that where they're getting to their goal. So their goal is, I want to get to this pavement and continue my destination. Whereas the designers were probably thinking, oh, we can force everybody to follow this path to make it much more seamless and probably safer for them to get to a destination, not their destination, which is, as you're seeing, it's on the right over here. So again, just to kind of recap that, UX design is just UI design if you don't consider the user's needs and wants, or what it is that they're trying to achieve. As you can see in the image on the right, it's really important that you always have the user's intentions, goals, wants, and needs in mind, so that you can best cater a design that satisfies all of those needs. So with saying that, let's play a game. So we're going to play a game called Can You Spot the UX? And what's basically going to happen is that I'm going to present to you two sets of images. There's going to be three sets of images. So there'll be an image on the left and an image on the right, and you have to decide which one you think is UI design and which one you think is UX design. So yeah, so you have to look at the images and think which one is UI design and which one is UX design. You can pause the video at any time to give yourself a little bit more breathing space to really consider your thoughts and how you want to answer it. And then when you're done, just click play, and I'll reveal the answers and then tell you why one is UI and one is UX. So yeah, if you're ready, let's get to it. So here are the first set of images, and when you're ready, just press pause and then come back to see the answers. So I hope you're ready now. I'm back to reveal the answers. So yeah, the image on the left I consider user interface, because it's got nothing to do with a user trying to achieve a goal. There's nothing there that a user wants, except from it's just information on how to behave in a space. it's not a user doesn't have a goal that they're trying to achieve, and that interface or that image isn't catering to any of the user's needs except for to inform them of information. Well, whereas the image on the right, it's got a lot going on right there. And I'm not sure if you've been to London bus stops before, even bus stops in the UK, where, as you're seeing, you've got your goal is that you come to your bus stop and you want to know when your bus is coming to take you to your destination, and you clearly have a positioning of 1, 2, 3, 4, sometimes up to 10 of which bus is coming first. And then you can just stand there a while and look at, okay, my bus number, I know which one it is, I know which the destination is going to, and I know how long it's going to take me before it comes here, because it has a time limit on the right. So this helps the user make very, very calculated decisions on whether or not this is going to help them get to the destination. Because I've been there many times where sometimes my destination might be easier for me to walk there than for me to stand there waiting for the bus to come. So giving me all of this information gives me a lot to think about to make the best right move for me. And that's why it's such a strong and powerful UX, to give them the positioning, to give them the number of their bus, to give them the location of what that bus, when that bus is going to be stopping, because sometimes the bus might stop at a location which is before the location you're going to get to. So it's all the key information that you need is presented, and then you get a time limit, which again, as I was just saying, gives you the understanding whether or not it's worth your time to be sat there waiting, or if you can walk to your destination faster, or make other plans to get to your destination faster. Because as you can see, sometimes it might take longer than will take other sorts of transport to get you to a destination, whether that be by bike, walking, or taking a car or a cab. So yeah, if you're ready, we've got the next set of images now. So again, you can pause the video when you're ready and come back to it to see what the answers are. So yeah, if you're ready now, I'm going to present to you the answers. I hope you're starting to pick up on the signs now. So the image on the left is UI design. Again, I centered everything around the public transport in London, because I'm not sure if many of you have, I've been in a situation where in the past I've walked to my bus stop and I didn't realize it had that closed bus stop sign on the top. Again, it's purely information based. There's no goal I'm trying to achieve from that, and it's not really conveyed to me in the best user experience way. So I've been in a position where I've been waiting at the bus stop, thinking my bus is coming. I see the bus come, and then it drives up past me up until I then look up, and then I see, oh damn, the bus stop's closed. So the UI, it's just information. There's no goal that I was trying to achieve, or even if the goal was if there was a goal I was trying to achieve, it wasn't conveyed to me the best way. Because when you have to remember that the user is not always going to pay attention to all of those signs that you put in their face, and this is a very sometimes hard to reach area where we really know which buses come to our bus stop, so we're not going to look up to see that, okay, the sign is there, and to give us that information that, okay, the bus stop is closed. So they've improved that over the years. And now the image on the right, I consider it UX, because again, another London bus transport example, when you're coming off your bus, I think this is really powerful UX, by the way. When you're about to come off your bus, you get all of this information that tells you that you're coming off at the right stop. As you can see on the image, you get a display which tells you which bus stop you're about to come off at, and then when you press the button, it makes a ding sound, a very, very loud ding sound to tell you that it's recorded your action, and then you get to see the bus stopping. And there's also other things to consider, because sometimes it might be too loud, like I might have my headphones in, so I can't hear that ding sound. But what you do get is other kinds of feedback where you see that the bus is actually going to stop. So it's not just for people, it caters to people who are also hard of hearing, or in that situation can't hear clearly, to give them visual signs that their bus is stopping. And there's also auditory signs as well, where it's like, okay, some buses tell you which stop they're getting off at. So they're giving you all these different ways to confirm that your action has happened. And just to reiterate, the goal here is that I'm trying to get off at my stop to continue my journey. Press the bus stop sign. I see that the sign is now changed to bus stopping, and also get a clear indication of which bus stop it's stopping at. So all of those things make it a very, very tailored and catered experience for a lot of different types of users. On to the next set of images. So again, pause the video, and when you're ready to come back and see the answers, I'll be here waiting. And if you're ready, I'm about to reveal the answers. So this one's a bit of a tricky question. So I like to present, I like this one because what you basically got here is both are UX, whereas one is an improved UX and the other is really causes a lot of pain and frustration. I remember when they first introduced this bus ticket kiosk system, everybody thought it was a good idea because you didn't have to go to the shop no more, which is quite far away from your bus stop, to go and buy a bus ticket. But what this image clearly conveys is that it created a very anxious opportunity or moment for a lot of ticket purchasers or travelers for the bus, because as you can imagine, if you don't have a bus ticket and as you see an image, your bus is coming and you're standing at the stop, it was about to leave, for you to spend time at this kiosk system, sometimes didn't have the best user interface. It was very hard to like quickly purchase a ticket when your bus is about to come and then make it on the bus in time. So most times you have to make the decision of, okay, I'm not going to get that bus, let me just get my ticket and wait for the next one, which might take a really, really long time. And again, this is a very poor experience for the user, because not alone does it just create a anxious moment for them, making them very worried about, okay, I need to get a ticket in time. It also means that they have to make the hard decision of, I have to miss this bus, which isn't the best experience for TfL when they're trying to create a public transport for a wide range of users. So all in all, that really made it very, very hard for people to purchase bus tickets. It still caters to some users. For example, you might have travelers who need them, who are not so worried about, okay, when the bus is coming, or elder people who don't understand or not so good at using digital interfaces to purchase or use contactless payment to purchase tickets on the go. Well, on the right now, you've got all of those improved UX considered for people who are taking a bus. No longer do you now have to wait or even worry about the fact that you don't have a bus ticket, because you can purchase it as you go along. You don't have to have a bus ticket before you leave. You can now purchase it when you enter the bus. So you just come on, you could be running like literally 30 seconds before your bus comes, get on the bus, and you just purchase it. And an improved UX of that is that sometimes you might not have enough bus fare on your Oyster card or credit card, and what they do is that they allow you to have a deficit. So considering that not all people may be able to have had the right amount at that time, but they give you a deficit, which you'll be able to top up later, so you can still continue your journey to go to your destination, which is really considering the UX of your users, the context and needs, the wants of what your users are trying to achieve from your service or product. And that's why I think this is a really powerful user experience for all types of users that use the public transport. So just kind of like tie things together a bit more, I want to talk about how UI design is just one small part of UX design. It's an umbrella that fits. Think of UX as an umbrella, and UI design is one of those branches that helps you create that user experience for your users. So the look and feel, they're using the right colors, making a particular comfiness to the design, all of that fits underneath UX. So you can think that UX is like the parent, and UI is one of its children, or one of the tools that, let's say, the tool man or the tool person is using to achieve the job. So to kind of bring that home a bit more, I wanted to just give some comparisons of what UI is versus UX. So in the UI world, like I was saying, it's about considering the look and feel of things. As you can see, does it look good to the eye, which is basically taste, and it takes time to generate taste and make something that's really, really pleasant to a lot of users. Whereas for UX are users familiar with the interface that's been designed? So UI, like I'm saying, it might look good to the eye because that person's had years of experience of making things look beautiful. But the UX person is now thinking, okay, are users familiar with the interface that's now been designed? Because again, the user is really the key part. They're at the center of every decision a UX designer is trying to make. So the UI designer is now thinking, do the colors work well together? Whereas the UX designer is thinking, can users find the call to action button with those colors? There was a very popular scenario that happened a few months back with when National Road changed their website to be grayscale, and a lot of users had issues trying to find action buttons or even had to navigate because color was a very important factor in helping them navigate the site. And when they took that away, users didn't know how to navigate around anymore. So that's what the UX designer is thinking. Okay, can users find call to action buttons or just find where they're trying to get to with the colors that has been designed? And the UI designer is now is also thinking fit in the necessary elements on the screen. Well, whereas a UX designer is thinking is what the user is looking for easy to find on the screen. You've been faced because UI design has been facing situations where they have a lot of information that they have to present on the screen, and they present in a way which again looks good to the eye and works well together. Whereas the UX designer is like, okay, it's good that all of that information on the screen, but is what the user needs at that moment easy for them to find? There's no point putting all the information on the screen if the users can't find what they're looking for. It's the right kind of information on the screen for them to find what they're looking for. And then a UI designer is also thinking about conveying a particular type of feeling, whereas a UX designer is thinking, does that feeling convert more users? You understand the difference now. A UI designer might want to make something feel comfier, more relaxed, whereas a UX designer is thinking, okay, does that comfy feeling or relaxed feeling help users achieve a goal, help users get to X point of an app or service or website, help users do something that's going to benefit them? It's all about understanding how does this impact the user. Is it a positive impact or a negative impact? So there's no point making something feel a particular type of way if it's not going to help your user achieve their goal or goal you need them to achieve to make your business thrive. So those things are really, really important when it comes to UI and UX design, or the differences between them. So again, UX considerations to think about is UX is really a data-driven approach. It's a data-driven approach that puts users at the forefront of every decision that you're making. So it's about researching into that problem and coming up with ideas around that research. No point just doing something. Even if you do not based on research, you want to then go and release that so you can gain feedback. Again, another form of research, gain feedback from the users to understand those ideas or solutions you've come up to solve those problems. So again, it's very data driven and it's very user focused. That's the best way for UX to work, is that you need to have the users at the forefront of your mind, and you need to have data based on either past user behavior or current user behavior to feed back into coming up with solutions to better serve those users. So, and then you repeat those above points. So researching the problem, come up with ideas around those problems and release them to users to test and gain feedback. And it's a repetitive loop that you keep going, churning through over and over and over again to make the best possible experience for the users. So that's what UX is all about. It's not something that can be completed in 1 day or 2 weeks. It's a evolutionary process. It doesn't stop because I'm not the same person I was last year. You're probably not the same person you were a few weeks ago. We change all the time, and because we are changing people, that means UX is always gonna be changing with us to better serve our wants and needs. 10, 15 years ago, we didn't have the likes of, for example, Snapchat, and Instagram, and TikTok, and all those things have now changed our behaviors. So UX has to change to cater to those new changed behaviors. So again, all users need to be catered for when it comes to UX design. I gave you a few examples of when you're using public transport. Some people might not have the right language, be in the right language to understand the science, so you need to provide other kinds of feedback to help them as well. Or people might have visual impairment or hearing impairment. Your designs need to cater to solving those needs. It's not just, again, about what exists on your digital screen. UX design is the whole journey a user has with your service or product, and sometimes that can be outside of even interacting with your product. It might be, okay, let's take a store for example. How the user got to your store, that journey might have changed their mind to feel a particular type of way to purchase more or not purchase more. It might have rained that day, or something terrible might have happened on the journey, that made them feel really, really bad. And when they enter the store, they're like, okay, I don't want to really do anything. I'm just browsing. I'm not happy to purchase. So it's like sometimes you have stuff, external factors outside of your business app service that impacts your users and how they now use your service. So UX is being able to cater for all those types of different scenarios by thinking about how to put your users in the best possible experience to help them achieve the goal in your service or achieve the goal in your product, app, website. So yeah, accessibility, which is all users need to be catered for, is really important. I don't like to design things that just work for a particular set of users. I like to consider, okay, how can I push myself to make this work for everyone? There are people with color blindness, there are people with visual impairment, there are people with hearing impairment, there are people with different kinds of disabilities. One thing I suffer from is motion sickness. So I don't like adding motion to a lot of my designs I come up with, because as I'm getting older, it's becoming more and more of a problem for me. And there's others around the world that also suffer from that as well. So it's like there's many areas of UX that you have to consider to make it catered for all types of users. You can't just focus entirely on able people or people that don't really have any accessibility issues. Everybody has to be catered for when it comes to your design, because then it's not really, I don't see it as it working if not everybody can use it. So once my designs can be used by everyone, then I'm satisfied, because it means that my users, the users of the product or service, are going to get the best experience for them, not the best experience for me or the best experience I think for the service, the best experience for them. So I always try to consider, okay, how can I make this work for people who use screen readers? How can I make this work for people who use who are colorblind or who have short-sightedness, and all these different accessibility issues, to make my designs really, really catered for them. When it comes to UX, you really have to consider all users' needs and wants, not just abled users. So now we're moving into what is a UX case study and what makes a good case study. So yeah, a UX case study is basically a research project on something that you're either passionate about, or something that you're doing for your business, or something that you're just doing in general. So it's about laying out research that you've learned of a particular problem, or you've identified a particular problem and you want to release that information to the world, release how your solution to that problem helped that, or solve that problem basically. So a UX case study is, okay, you have a problem and then you have a solution, and then you've gone doing some research into how that solution has impacted that problem for you to then present an outcome. And you talk about those outcomes in your case study to present to the world. So the thing that really, really makes a good case study is having a unique perspective. What you come to find is when you Google around for case studies, is that everybody has a similar type of format. Like I was just saying, you have a problem, solution, outcome. But what really makes those that really stand out is having a very unique perspective on the problem that they've just identified or researched into. So not just presenting facts and figures, it's saying, okay, yeah, we set out to solve this problem, but then we found that trying to solve this problem this way didn't actually help the users. I actually was in one of those scenarios when I used to work for National Rail. We had users who, we had, it was the rail card, we had a very high drop-off rate on the login page for users. So both new users and existing users got sent to the same login page. And basically what happened is that you had an email box and it said put in your email. I remember the first time I experienced that, I thought, okay, this is for existing users. I didn't know that you had to put your email in, and then the system would tell you whether or not to put in your password or create an account. So we tried to introduce various A/B testing methods. A/B testing is basically you present users one version of your design and another user with a different version of design, and see which one helps achieve a particular goal. And our goal was to reduce the drop-off rate of users. As I just explained to you, I didn't know you had to put your email address to then create an account or sign in. So I left that page, and I was suspecting many users were leaving that page as well. That's why we had a high drop-off rate. But when we did various A/B testing on that page, we discovered no matter if we brought the password back or sent them to different parts of the website, no matter what we done, the existing, okay, put in your email and then we'll tell you whether or not to create an account or continue to log in, was the best achieving variant that we had for all of our tests. No matter what I did, Because in my mind, I felt like, okay, users need to know that, okay, whether or not they need to create an account or to log in. And that wasn't the case. It seemed that users had loved or found that experience of, okay, putting your email address and continue the best thing for them to do. So it was obviously something else that was causing a high drop off rate for us, which I think they've now solved. I don't really work for them no more, but it was just like I had an insight that I could share that was different from just presenting facts and figures. So yeah, so it's really having a unique perspective to present in your case study, because you got to think about it. Everybody's going to be able to present facts of, okay, I improved X and I improved Y, I improved more conversions, I improved more click-through rates, or I improved more satisfaction of this design. But then imagine if that's what everybody's saying, it becomes very, very tedious to hear that over and over again. So you want to present a unique perspective that makes you stand out from the crowd, so that your case study is not just a fact-finding case study. It's something that could be presented that could tell that you were wrong, like how I found I was wrong in making my assumptions, or I had learned from those assumptions and we figured something else out. So it's all about having that unique perspective of something that's going to make you stand out from other case studies. So I hope that helps you understand what a UX case study is. And I'm just not going to leave you with that. I'm actually going to show you a real life example of a case study that I did a few years back, and it was for National Realm. So let's get to it. So yeah, this was a case study I did for National Rail. They had a website called My Interrail, which was basically for people who who are within Europe or outside of Europe, in Americas or other countries, that were coming to within Europe and wanted to travel on train. So this would give them a year's different passes, just like the rail card or season tickets to travel on any kind of rail within Europe or UK. So just to give you a breakdown, it was the title. I gave a very clear title of what I did, which was redesign my interval for 650k plus increase of conversions year on year. So my case study was about how I achieved that for them. I clearly defined what my role was. I told them I was the lead designer of the project. I was responsible for this redesign the whole website. I'll walk you through what the website used to look like before, and also bring it to more of a responsive, modern design. The website was really, really old. Literally hadn't been changed since they first introduced it in, like, I think 2008, 2009. And I came around to bring the newer design. I also worked with a development agency to bring the ideas to life. So they were working on what they call a content management system, which helped them create the content for the website, whereas I created the designs. So yeah, this was the National Rail, My Interrail's old website design. So just to kind of give you, before I get into it, I want to show you that a case study starts with a problem, has a solution, and then it goes into what the outcome was, which is I describe in the text below. So remember, it's the problem, solution, and your outcome. So yeah, our problem was that the website hadn't been updated for over 4 years, and in the modern day, it felt untrustworthy and like it was a scam website. That's what we were getting from users. So as you can see from the design, it looks like it's very, very outdated. It looks like it was made in the 90s. It's got very I forgot what they call it now. I forgot the term, where it's got buttons that look like textures, real things, which is not really used anymore. And the mobile design wasn't that interesting or catered that much for users who were mobile browsers. And in a day and age where almost half of internet traffic is on mobile devices, it needed to pop more. So yeah, it had a very untrustworthy feeling, and also having the National Rail brand logo across the website wasn't enough to deter users from thinking this wasn't a phishing site. So there's the logo right there, right in your face. It's not very hard to go and grab that logo from the internet and place it on your website. So I'll just get into the stats a bit more. The site had a very high bounce rate. Bounce rate is, okay, users came and then went somewhere else. So they came on the website and they went somewhere else in less than a minute, basically. I think it's less than 10 seconds. So it had a high bounce rate of around 40% of users who landed on the website going elsewhere after a few moments of just browsing, and had a high exit rate of 25%, which means that users weren't finding what they were looking for. So exit rate is somebody's clicked on a few pages and then they've gone somewhere else, instead of somebody's clicked on the page waited 10 seconds, and then disappeared. This is somebody's been browsing your website, but just couldn't find what they were looking for. So yeah, I have stats from 2016 to 2017. It's really, really good to present stats in your UX case studies, because that helps you people who are reading or taking in the content, not just makes them feel like you're not coming up with fake stuff. You're coming up with stuff that's based on the evidence of the research that you've done in the past. And so I don't think it's really for this this topic, but it's really good to have what they call analytics set up on your designs to help track user interactions, as we did with National Rail. So in the time period from January 1st to December 31st, we had over 2 million page views, and as you can see that over time. So yeah, alongside this, my Interrail was also facing high competition from other resellers of the Interrail product. So Interrail is actually a brand that's used across Europe, and there were other people that were selling that same Interrail product. Now, the issues that they had better UX for their website, they had a more up-to-date design, and they were building trust with users. The only trust that we were having is that we had a National Rail, which gave people a lot of confidence, but not that much to run away from the 40% bounce rate. So yeah, so despite being the largest retailer of the product in UK, competitors' responsive and modern website designs instilled trust in users wanted to purchase from them instead of from who was National Rail at the time. The site also faced a huge information problem. Literally, there was loads and loads of information all over the place. There was no easy architecture or information architecture to get a user to find in that information that we're looking for on the page. So, and not to make matters worse, I was also strapped for time on the project and how much we could spend redesigning the site. So it could only be a reskinning of the existing site and not really like improving the architecture underneath, which was the CMS that they were using, the type of coding language that they were using to build it, and just stuff like that. So no new features were added, and just slight improvements to the purchase flow of the website was done. So this is the mobile view. Again, all of this was really outdated designs and using old methodologies that don't really stand ground in today's day and age. So yeah, my solution was to just review the information architecture and strip away what was not needed anymore, so that it removes the confusion from users. So most of the pages that were cluttered the UI were classified as blog pages, and I decided to create a blog section to house those content into one, so that it's just in one area instead of in the navigation menu. As you can see right now, it's really, really, really long. Like, this image doesn't do it justice. I should have did a video GIF, but it's really, really long of just scrolling down of the sections. So I'm gonna just add that into a better designed blog section. So we went from having lengthy sidebars and a drop-down menu to one menu bar, which I'll show you in a second, with all the content easily accessible from the search bar, one search bar component. So this is their old design. So look at that, all of that there. And this was the page views that they had, the unique page views, average time on the page, and here's like the facts I was pulling from before. So like again I was saying, it's really important to draw from real data, because then it just strengthens your case for why your design solution was better. So yeah, so for my design, the solution was inspired by one of the leading retailers in the world, which is Apple. They sold high-priced products with huge value and sold it well through their website. I took inspiration for my Interrail from that, because it was a very high-value product. It wasn't cheap to purchase one of these tickets, so you had to really be invested and know that you want to do this. So I took inspiration from them by creating really product-focused designs, so stuff that brought the product to the center. As you can see, the Interrail Global Pass over here. Let me even see if I can go to my Interrail. So yeah, they still got the website live. So yeah, we got the Global Pass over here, so much better design. And then you also got the blogs that they had before. So they would create blogs on a frequent basis to send users to just give users different ideas of where to go for their journey. and they still want to keep the sign up to date. So the interval passes are high price products that have huge value. Customers wanted to travel around Europe, and all of that was lost in the old design. And like I said, I want to focus a bit more of the redesign to give it more of a center stage with immersive sliders and a grid component layout with icons for full familiarity. I'm struggling with that word, familiarity. So yeah, there we go. So like to give them just confidence that this is the stuff they're buying, that it's entrusted by National Rail, the number one leading train ticket provider in the UK. So all of it was about building the trust back up and then giving them a updated design and easy access to information. So yeah, I'll take you through a bit more of the redesign as well before I show you the stats. We changed I didn't actually take a screenshot of the old page, but yeah, as you can see, all of the not many drop down menus again. So as you see, you've got these one-offs. Literally, we had like up to, we just had loads of drop downs before. Now we've just cut it down to maximum of 6, and also you can quickly search for what you want. There you go. So yeah, the redesign basically helped to reduce the bounce rate by more than 55%, which is a huge number. Just to show you guys why that was happening, is because again, the phishing site confusion that people had with our old design really made people run away, because they were worried, okay, this site's going to steal my details. Giving a more up-to-date design, something that users were familiar with or will come to expect about websites of today, and helped instill trust a whole lot more. So bounce rate would drop by 55%, exit rate dropped by 35%, and page views increased by more than 90%, which means that users were finding the content that they were looking for, which was obviously amazing. And also the average time on the page dropped by 48%, which means that users were finding what they were looking for much quicker than in the redesign. So they weren't spending time scouring through every piece of text and know, okay, is this what they're looking for? They were able to find it in half the time now, as compared to the old where they had spent much more time looking for the right information. And just to show you this, these facts, here you can see the comparison. So we had the before, what it used to be before, and then actually that's what it is right now, and then we had the comparison. So as you can see, 90% more page views, 48% less time on the page. The bounce rate dropped from 43% to almost 20%. Exit rate from 25% to 16%. So like very positive information, very positive feedback based on releasing that to the users. And obviously we used that to that information to know that, okay, this was a success. I'd done my user research into the problem, understanding what users were feeling, thinking about old product, and then I came over a solution, which was the new design over here. And then that solution, the outcome of that solution was obviously less time on the page, but less bounce rate and lower exit rate, which means that users will find what they were looking for. And what it doesn't say over here is that we had, I thought to include that information, is that we had an increase in 650k plus in sales, which is what sales were losing before. Now we had that, which made obviously everybody in the company much more happier about the website. So yeah, that's the My Interrail website over here. So yeah, we had to design all these icons. It was quite a fun project. And yeah, it also works on mobile. There we go, which is something that we were focusing a lot on. So now that you've seen a real life example of a case study, let's go into actually creating your own case study. So when creating a UX case study, the areas that you cover are listed I've listed below, and I'll just go through and give you a short explanation of them like I did in my case study. So the areas to cover is an overview. Overview is just basically a short description to give the viewer or person reading it a glimpse of what you did for the project, what was your role, and kind of the stuff that you quickly achieved. So like summarizing just the whole case study in just around 4 or 5 lines. And the problem is just you listing out what was the problem you faced, like what made you go and create this case study. Listing those problems, like as you saw in my example, I mean, not as much detail. You don't have to put too much detail into these. It's just about your unique perspective again, and just listing out those problems that you're going to go tackle. And then you will, the solution, which is the third one, is okay, what did you actually create? What is it that you're creating to go and solve this problem, to go and tackle this problem? And put images, put videos, put whatever it is that helps you describe the solution in your case study, so that people get an idea of what it is that you're gonna go use to solve this problem. Same thing with the problem. Like put pictures, put facts, put stuff that help build a picture around what the problem actually is. Remember, a UX case study is very good when you tell a story. So tell a story of the journey you're trying to achieve. So, and you can do that through words, videos, images. So use all of those stuff to your disposal. And the fourth and final thing is the outcome. Now, the outcome is what actually happened with your solution. Like, did it solve the problem? Did it not solve the problem? And the outcome is really, really strong when you have evidence to back it up. Like, I have evidence to show the before and the after of my solutions. So you want to use that for yourself as well. So yeah, and even if you don't have evidence, that can be part of the outcome. Is that, okay, we weren't allowed to, we weren't able to collect the evidence. So obviously, we need to think about doing X, Y, Z the next time we do something like that. It's literally all about your learnings of doing this case study, and that's what makes outcomes really, really powerful. Is just talking about what you did and what you did learn, what you didn't learn, what you wanted to achieve, what you didn't achieve, how you can do better the next time. So I hope that helps you understand what creating a case study is, because now it's actually your turn to go and create your own case study. So I'm going to walk you through all of this stuff. So yes, it's not as scary as you think it is. It's actually quite simple, as I listed here before. There are just 4 areas you need to cover: the overview, the problem, the solution, the outcome. So what you're going to do is find an object in your home. This can be anything from a hot coffee cup, packaging, electronic device, anything that causes you frustration. I like to base stuff on things that cause me a lot of frustration, like my front door, because then that really gives you the motivation to go out and actually solve it. Like I'll give you a very to go and solve it. So yeah, so list your, and then what you want to do is you want to list your problems that you faced with that issue. I'll give you an example of I sometimes, kind of like a lot of shopping, or I'm rushing, or just having stuff in my hands, and I get to my front door, I would wish that it would just open. I would struggle to open the door because my hands are occupied, and I have to go find my key while I'm holding whatever else is in my hand and then open the door. So you want to list the issues that object has caused you in your life. Just write them down on a pen and paper. And then after you've done that, just go do some research. Literally look at what others in the world are doing to solve this issue. Speak to your friends or families or those that you live with, and just ask them questions about if they face that issue. Is it even an issue for them? Literally, you just want to gather as much insight into that problem, and just knowing if other people are suffering from that problem too. And then once you've gotten an understanding of the research of, okay, this is something that people don't face, or just something that people do face. If it's something that people don't face, as long as you face it, that's still okay to go and figure out solutions for it. So what you should do now is mock up some solutions. So just grab pen and paper. Simple stickman is fine. The whole point here is just to list ideas down. So list ideas of how you can solve that. What would help you solve those issues? Like, get as creative as you can. Like, literally think outside the box. You don't actually have to go and create those solutions right now, but just generate as much ideas as you can. And then once you've generated those ideas, go and speak to those people you spoke to before and get feedback around your ideas. So researching into, okay, can this solution I thought of help solve this problem? What do you think about the solution? Does it not solve the problem, or why doesn't it not solve the problem? And then just talking to those, going back and forth with them. Now, what is really, really key about is that from points 3 to 5, you should go back and repeat until you're satisfied with your solution. It's a repetitive process of research, mocking up ideas, testing them with users, or getting feedback from users, and then going back to research, mocking up solution, feedback from users, research, mocking up solutions, feedback from users. So it's just keep repeating points 3, 4, and 5 until you think you have a very sound idea to solve your problem. And then once you've done all of that, I want you to write it up in a case study. So again, listen now. Okay, what was the overview of the project, of the case study? What was your role in it? What was the quick summary of what you achieved? So, and then I want you to break it down into the areas. Okay, the problem was, I'll give you an example. The problem that I have is that I carry a lot of stuff all the time when I'm coming to my front door, and I'm always struggling to open it, find my keys, rustle my keys while holding what's in my hand to then open the front door. And a solution I thought of was, oh, if there was a device that I could attach to my door, and then I have another device on my key, so that as I'm coming, it automatically opens. All I just have to do is press the handle, and the door opens. And then I'll then go and speak to that with other people, and then to see if they like that idea. If they don't like that idea, write that in my outcome. So that's what I want you guys to go and do. So find an object in your home, can be anything that you have frustration with. I like to tie it to my frustrations. Again, it gives me motivation to actually go out and figure out how to solve the problem. And then list the issues that you face with using that object. And once you've listed those issues, go and research and speak to others, those who live with you. If you can't find others, it's fine to just ask yourself the question, and then mock up solutions that go and solve those problems. And literally, again, pen and paper. You can. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just write anything. You can even just write it down if you don't want to draw. Just write ideas down, and then go back to those users or those people and just ask them questions about, okay, does this actually solve the solution? And then repeat points 3 to 5 until you think you've got something that's something novel that's really gonna tackle this problem. And once you've done all of that, I want you to write it all up in a case study of, okay, your overview being your role, and the quick summary of the case study, the problem you faced, the solution you came up with to solve that problem, and then what was the outcome of that solution. So yeah, I'll be really, really excited to see all of your case studies. And if you have any questions, you can hit me up on my Twitter. My Twitter handle is right there, AFOSA SO. So yeah, I'll be happy to give as many constructive feedback as possible to help you guys with your case studies. So yeah, that is the end of the case study, and I hope you guys now understand what is UX design and the difference between UI and UX design. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day.